otherwise I would agree. But Sally is our state school board member. I think she needs to be introduced first.
Well, then sweep it from Sally to the left. Whatever. And then you can end up with yourself if you keep the seat. But
Have fun filtering all this.
I had a question about not lowering the standards line. I put that in the email, and maybe these guys all know it, but that agreement in the collaboration between the states not to lower the standards down to the lowest standard out there, but to keep it all high. Who? I mean, who made that agreement? Rather than keeping it nebulous that it was agreed, it might be helpful to be a little more specific on what was that agreement? I mean, did it just happen, or obviously it didn't happen? There was another comment I had that later on when we talk about our involvement with the Kansas development, there's almost no comment that I heard on how that fed into the group of states collaborative development or opportunity to, and a statement on that might be helpful in that point in the presentation. Otherwise, I mean, I was going to ask the question if there was a Q&A afterwards there, but you can answer it that way too. It just, there was an agreement between Tim and I, or
Jean, do you know the answer to that question?
I think it's on that website that we can take a look at that.
Basically,
I don't know what, or the chief state school officer.
just as my thought, I don't know why those board members would be having that question. Just a thought there. States are free to adopt these standards or not. You know, when we made that statement, they were free to, but are they still free to move out of them, move away from them?
absolutely.
Okay, just wanted to be sure, because that's part of that rhetoric out there, that we're bound by agreements by our governor, and
There's 3 or 4 out there wavering now because of the political issues out there going on. I think Texas chose not to do, and Nebraska.
And another thing, as a staffer and a board member, we're doing more with less. I mean, the presentation's saying we're higher standards, we're gonna, there's no comment on how it's gonna happen with the resources available. And so it sounds like we're gonna put more demands on ourselves without more funding or more resources. And it might be helpful to at least think about anticipating the question. How are we going to do all this additional stuff with no more resources? I think the answer is, we heard earlier that it's a different approach that's not, it's more quality than quantity. But anyway, that was another question that popped in my mind as I listened to your presentation.
Who has the slide about the gap? Do you think it's important to state that in our country we feel it's important and, or something, not important, but it's a constitutional right to educate all members of our society, which is part of the reason why that gap is there on globalization. I mean, it's not, that's part of the good reason why that gap is there. It's not necessarily negative. Because I'd rather live in a country where everybody gets educated than live in a country where you're chosen to be educated. Or is that just messy to bring up?
Well, just, what's the slide before, Darren?
When we're talking about keeping up
Yeah,
globally,
I think we're just, if you,
Slide before is the assessment.
yeah, I think we're just trying to read into it too much or drill it down.
okay,
To me, these are really the 4 factors that was presented to us
sure.
throughout this whole thing. I'm not saying you're wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. But man, I can dive into each one of these. Technology, I can really dive into later on. Financial globalization, demographics. But,
It is what
you know,
it is. Yeah.
I think we have a right to educate everybody.
So school improvement is existing school improvement? On that graphic,
Correct.
that's based on the prior.
what this chart says is that schools are improving, and that's really what Tom's slide before that says. Yeah, they've gone up,
Just not a-
but the world is changing under our feet.
More rapidly than our
at a
education can
more
keep up.
rapid pace. Driven by these things.
So, yes, everybody has a right to be educated in the world, but it doesn't state, the fact that there's a changing world and we're going like this, you know what I mean?
Plus, I
Can't
think you
keep
talked,
up.
I think you talked about in your field, Alex, on that same slide, how.
Well, Tom had that slide, he jumped me,
Okay.
he slide jumped me, but I do have some comments on it.
Slide jumped you?
He slide jumped me.
Slide jumped you, that's a good term, I need to remember that.
Yeah, you had that one.
It's like clay jumping.
You know, Laura has some excellent points on the mobile students. I think that was,
Yeah.
and by the way, you can tell your experience talking to people because you're looking at people.
Yeah,
No,
no,
very good.
you are
Uh,
a mentor for speaking.
I did not think I was looking up, but thank you.
Talking about PLCs, one thing that's come up in this that you didn't mention, and it's something to think about, is the freedom to teach. You essentially said it in your comments.
I say it.
Okay.
I say that we have applied our own curriculum to the anchor
And I
standards.
believe that was the next slide.
Yeah, but it's mentioned that we use our curriculum, because I misspoke the first time through, last time. And I'll try to emphasize that,
That's great.
that we have, you know, the freedom to interject our own curriculum as long as they support
And
and
the teacher,
justify assessing me.
maybe say both places, but that was your point, that the teacher in the classroom has the freedom. Now,
Well, and I'll probably try to personalize that more. So I felt like I was going overboard with the boys, but I may talk about my husband then on that one. So,
And we
I
don't
don't
wanna,
know.
we don't wanna over sell
Right.
that, because we have a curriculum that the board approves for our district. Other districts have a curriculum. So it's not like free teaching. You can't just go in and do
and her
whatever.
point was, need 5 more minutes, you gotta be able to take 5 more minutes. You were using a block teaching.
Yeah,
5
yeah,
minutes, 3
okay.
minutes, 2 minutes.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just don't wanna
5 minutes
say
here,
that,
10 minutes here,
Yeah,
5
you're right.
minutes here, but you can't
Don't
go
leave
those
it
2
just
extra
as a statement.
minutes.
yeah.
Good point.
I think we're all the same page.
And I was just curious about the mobility of the teachers too. I mean, if this is gonna be around curriculum over 45 states, well then, and we tend to have some local teachers that come in and leave, and we have quite the turnover. And so there may be an element of strength in the college careers ready standards, consistency between states for teachers that are mobile as well. I'm just wondering whether that's true, but it struck me as I heard your presentation. Question?
The standards will be, the curriculum will be different, because we're adopting our own curriculum, but the standards will be the same.
Right, the strands are the bold
Mhm.
headings, and then and the anchor standards support that via our own curriculum. Each district applies.
And so you've got, from the strengths on your presentation, is you've got time to personalize it. That's good. And then there's time for Q&A, and you've got the resources, both you and staff, for the rest of it. That'll be a really good presentation.
I want to thank everybody for taking the time out to do this. I know these dry runs are difficult.
Well, none of us want to look stupid as an airport.
Board open discussion, anybody have anything? The next board meeting will take place on Friday, December 20th at 7:30. In the board meeting room, it will be one of our payables meeting. Quick show of hands of who could be here.
Next Friday?
No, December 20th.
Oh,
Right.
in the morning I can't, yep.
At 7:30. Okay, we're good, we're covered. And with that, we need to go into executive session. How long do we need? 15 minutes.
Mr. President, I move personnel and their contractual obligations because of this matter were discussed in open session in mind mid privacy of those discussions.
Second. Laura.
Laura second. All those in favor?
Um,